It's 7 o'clock. Let's go ahead and call the meeting to order. If you noticed, I turned my cell phone off. Maybe if the rest of you could do the same, that would be great if you're thinking about it. This will be a continuation of the January 10th meeting, which also went into the 17th, and this is the 24th. And I think we'll be adjourning tonight when we're all said and done, so I hope that is the case. I wanted to make an announcement, probably most of you know it, is the fact that Nancy Bailey, which will be Bill Bailey's wife, passed away this last week. And I want to make sure everybody here knew that. And she will be missed. She's been in that office right next door here for a number of years, and a great lady. And I'm sure Bill's going to miss her. And I respect goes off to Bill here, because I know what he's been through with the campaign, and then to have to be putting up with this at the same time, I really feel sorry for the guy. This meeting is being recorded, and I would ask that when you stand up to speak, that you give your name, if you would, so that we can tell on the recording who actually made the remarks.
Mr. Chairman? Could I ask the purpose for this last continuation? What's the reason for it? You were pretty vague last time.
Well, there's been a lot of things that happened that we didn't seem to have gotten a completed motion on. And so that's part of what this meeting is. But on the other hand, we have new business that we can continue on. I had a lot of things that we wanted to accomplish. The sooner we can get them out, get them on the floor, the sooner we can react on them and get them behind us. So that's why there's been a continuation to this point. This will probably go down in history. It's been the longest meeting that the Irrigation District has ever had, from the 1928. But nevertheless, I think we've accomplished a lot, and hopefully we'll cut it short tonight. We got a lot of motions that we started, we discussed, and I really don't want to get into the same discussion tonight. We're going to be bringing them up. We're going to be making a second on them, and with very limited discussion, I'm going to be cutting it real short because we've already, like I say, discussed 90% of these things already, and it came to my attention that we didn't finish the job on them. So we will be moving fast tonight, and that's all I can say is just give us the time tonight to get these things taken care of, and we'll get it in and get out of here. Hopefully we'll be out of here by 9:30 or so. I noticed we're all here. We are being recorded. The lake elevation is at 1042.27 as of 8 a.m. on January 23rd. 42.27 actually is about 4 feet below what it would normally be in the summertime. So if you look out there right now, anything that you see sticking up is probably an obstacle that you better be real careful of when you're doing your boating out here, and because you've got 4 foot of clearance over anything that you see now. Presentations and awards, there'll be nothing on that. Approval of the minutes of the previous meeting, we've done that. That happened on the January 10th. We have no bids, no resolutions, no committee reports or advisory reports. We're going to move into the old business. First item on the old business is a motion to request for information from a board member. We've talked about this before, and the discussion was that when a board member asks for information from the staff, we'd like to have 24 hours service on that. And we do not have to put it in writing. It can be verbal. We've got to make sure that they understand exactly what we're asking for, but nevertheless we're asking that it be given to us within a 24-hour period. And I would make that in the form of a motion.
I second that motion.
Been moved and seconded. Any other discussion?
Just one point, have you read through the governance policy and how it addresses this issue?
Ron, I've read through most of it. I haven't read it all.
Well, I just wanted you to know if you were aware of what it
Yeah,
says.
well, we're taking care of it right here now, and I don't think there should be any discussion. When a board member asks for something, I don't think we should have to put it in writing. I don't think that we need to take a week to get it.
Well, I'm just saying that there are procedures in the governance policy, and unless those are addressed, then you're not following the rules that you should be following, that's all.
Well, anything can be changed.
Is there anything in particular that you're talking about, Ron, or?
I just asked him if he was aware of it.
Yeah.
Can I ask a question?
Sure.
My name is Bill Burnett, resident here, and I'm sorry I missed your last two meetings, I just wasn't available.
No problem.
This budget that I have in my hand here, has this been out for quite a while, or
Been out for a week. It's been approved for a week.
it's been approved? So that means it existed in some form prior to that to be circulated and okay. I was just wondering.
We actually had 2 readings on it, 1 week apart.
I'm sorry I missed it.
Yeah.
Thank you.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed say nay.
Nay.
My vote is with it. Passed. Okay. I'm going to be marking these as we go. Motion on request for information from the public. This is normally what public information requests normally are taken care of within a 5-day period, or they're given a notice saying why they cannot do it. I think most of the information that anybody asks for can be done and taken care of in 5 days. If we get something that is longer than what it takes to get it done in 5 days' time, then I would ask that the staff comes to the board and lets us know that something has been requested that's going to take longer than 5 days. But on the other hand, we ask that it comes to the board and get the approval of the board at that point in time. So, yeah, Bill,
Wouldn't that
you're-
pass the 5
identify yourself if you would.
Bill Stevenson, editor, Columbia Basin Herald.
Uh-huh.
If you have to bring a public information request back to the board, won't that put it past the 5-day window?
No, they won't put it past. We're saying that anybody that has it that goes past 5 days, we want to know about it.
Okay.
But it's not putting it past the 5 days before they do it. We just want to know why it couldn't be done in 5 days.
Thank you.
Okay.
Is that to be reported, or is that to come up at the next board meeting?
Yes,
or
it is.
What's the deal?
It'll be coming to the next board meeting on the reason why it wasn't taken care of in 5 days.
Okay.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
We just voted on it, didn't we?
No, this
No,
is
this is
another one.
second.
This is on the public information. The first one was on the board member.
Okay, so you made a motion now for this public
For the
information?
public information within 5 days, or report back to the board why it wasn't taken care
I'll
of.
vote in favor.
Okay? Passed. The 3. Okay. Okay, motion on the special procedure review starting this Wednesday with J.R. Newhouse and Company, starting in 2008 and ending in the end of 2011. This is what some people might call an audit, but we're not referring to it as an audit. It's a special procedure review. And that is, it'll be looking into some of the different things of what has been looked at as far as the state. We realize that there's been a state audit, but we will not be looking at the same things. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
How about discussion,
Discussion.
please, before you take a
Go
vote?
for it.
Okay. At the last meeting, well, at the first meeting when you brought this up, you said that you made inquiries and the only one that you could find was J.R. Newhouse that would do this type of thing. And I indicated that I felt that there were others available out there. I had an issue with regard to the fact that J.R. Newhouse is your personal accountant, and that J.R. Newhouse is also the district's accountant. So was it appropriate to have J.R. Newhouse critique themselves on the way they handle issues here? And you said, well, you felt you were comfortable with that. And I said, well, I'd like the opportunity to go out and find out if we can't get someone else. And you said, well, fine, go ahead and do that, Ron. And I have done that. I called immediately after you gave me the authority to do that last meeting. I called Larson Allen. They have a department in their office, which is headquartered out of Yakima, that does just exactly this. And they have worked with other irrigation districts. They just completed working with the Kennewick district on an issue there. The lady, Angela Richardson, I believe is her name, said in order for me to give you a better idea as to the cost involved, I need to be able to come up and sit with your staff and see how your records are handled and so forth. And so we made the appointment for next Monday at 1 o'clock for her to do that. And now, by you giving me the opportunity to do that, you're not even going to give this other entity a chance to come up and present a proposal to us. You're just going to push this one through with Newhouse. And I feel there's a conflict there.
Ron, I don't think there's conflict. They do our payroll, they do our year end, which is the information that we've given to them. They don't think they have a contract. I don't think they have a conflict. As far as our legal department, he referred to that he didn't feel there was a conflict, and
He said the appearance of fairness did exist.
well.
So if you really want to be transparent here,
Well,
it seems-
Ron, I would wish that you would have came here with a number for us, because just to stall it off for another month, I'm not in favor of that. I'm in favor of getting it started and getting it done.
if I may finish my statement, the appearance of fairness is something I think is important. And consequently, I haven't had the last 5 weeks to put this together with Newhouse like you have. You were giving me the authority, you gave me the authority to go out and seek another accounting firm that could do this. I made one call and contacted.
And they're out of Yakima?
No, it's Larson Allen here.
Right.
But
You say
they're
they're out of
the
Yakima.
department that does it in their business, because they're a huge national firm, Larson Allen. And they're located in Yakima. But the lady was up here all week working in Othello and staying in Moses Lake, and if we hadn't had the snowstorm, she would have actually been there the day that we got hit so badly. But because of that, we had to schedule it for Monday.
Well, I wish you'd have gotten a price from her. Chris?
I'd like to make the distinction that our accountant
Identify
is
yourself.
Chris Hansen. Our personal accountant is Clayton, not Jim.
The firm is J.R. Newhouse.
Mr. Chairman,
Yes.
Brian Vance. What exactly, if we pass the state audit and this is the firm that takes care of this, what exactly are you looking at for this
Well,
firm to come in and do? What?
This is what I'm trying to prevent, is getting into another argument all over again. We've done this for
Well, I'm not trying to argue, I'm just trying to get clarification.
Yeah. Basically, we're looking at things that the state did not do. And so, we're looking at a number of different things. The state comes in and they spend roughly about 40 hours here and make procedural things that happens. Make sure that it's done the way it's supposed to be done according to state things. And so they look at one area, we'll be looking at a different area.
Okay, do you remember last week when I asked you specifically about this, when we had this whole discussion? And I asked you, had you already signed the contract with them? And you indicated at that point you already had.
I have personally, yes.
Well, that's what I'm trying to figure out. You have the authority to sign the contract without any
I
advising
thought we
it.
had it all voted on and done, and
Well, I'm
I
just
thought
trying
it was a
to.
thing of the past, and that's why I'm trying.
Well, I
to
know you
avoid-
do, but apparently some of us don't. Right? As far as I mean, to be blunt, is that within your scope that you can just go out,
I felt
singly make that
after
decision?
we discussed it,
and
I
exclude
thought we
everybody?
voted on it.
right.
I thought we voted on it, and maybe we did. I thought we did, but
Fair enough. I mean, I didn't know this was a one-man
This is-
dictatorship. I thought it was kind of
it's
a.
not. And don't refer to it as that.
Oh,
It looks like it.
that's the appearance. I'm just saying that's the
I'm gonna cut
appearance.
you off right
Don't. You're not going to cut me
I'd
off.
like to call
Because if you cut me off, I'll cut you off too. I'm just asking questions. That's why you ran for this office. I would just like to know a little bit more.
Yeah, well, we have discussed this thing and we've kicked it and we've done everything with it a number of times. And we're not gonna get into another
Okay,
big
well, might be
discussion
settled in your
tonight.
mind. It's not a lot of
I'm sorry
ours.
for Ron that he didn't get a price for him and.
You didn't give him a chance to though, because
Give a chance. It don't take a week to get a price from somebody. 2 weeks to get a price from somebody. This is.
I had already
this is
asked you
ridiculous.
when you brought this up last week, and you
It's
can
a
refer
stalled
back to the
process.
minutes.
And,
He brought it up that maybe we better do it on the appearance of fairness and
right. I
conflict of
understand.
interest. But it was a moot point because you told us at that point you'd already signed the contract, so it really didn't
I
matter.
signed it from the week before. Okay.
I'm just getting clarification.
Okay. End of discussion. All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All those opposed?
No.
Mr. Hansen,
Yes.
this isn't about the last thing. I just want to know, as Karen Stahl, my name is Karen Stahl, as a ratepayer in the district, and granted, I don't have a big amount of property, but I'm a ratepayer anyway, are you going to listen to other ratepayers besides what you already have in mind? I mean, I'm here to give my opinion as a ratepayer.
Right. that's
And
why
my
we're
opinion as a
opening it up.
ratepayer is not being paid any attention to.
I think you have been given a lot of attention. In fact, we've opened these meetings up to where everybody can talk here. And this is, we're bringing up old hashed over business right now, and so we're limiting the discussion to try and get the job done tonight. But we have been discussing all these items that I've got here for this old business here, time and time again, and we will not be spending a lot of time on it. So I'm not gonna open it up and spend an hour here hashing it over from old history. So bear with us, we're gonna try and get down through this, and I thought we had it all taken care of before, but
That wasn't the question.
what,
Lee Craig, I'm a resident here in Moses Lake. I've got a question parliamentary. If Mr. Covey would have presented you with a price for that action you just took outside of the meeting, wouldn't that have been an open meeting violation because it had been a quorum of the board, two people getting together discussing business outside of the public forum? That's a violation of state law. So he couldn't have provided you a price until this.
I asked him if he'd bring it to the meeting tonight, if he's gonna expect any.
But you couldn't have discussed that outside.
Anyway.
Did you tell him at the
But
last meeting to bring it?
Like I say, I think we passed this on the first meeting on the 10th. And it's been in the paper and it's been retracted from the paper.
You discussed it, you put it on hold.
What?
You didn't pass this one, you put this one on hold. From the first meeting, when you guys brought it up, this was one you were going to, went out, seconded, discussion, and then you put it on hold, so. that's the point.
Okay, and how about the second meeting? I'm not sure. We're not gonna get an argument on whether it's been passed or not passed. That's why it's back on the agenda tonight, and that's why we are moving down through it quite speedy.
To the event that you'll violate state law, if you're open meeting, I'm talking, discussing this outside of the meeting, that's all.
I haven't talked to anybody outside the meeting. Who are you talking about?
You didn't give him an opportunity to talk.
Didn't give him an
You
opportunity
didn't give
to...
him an opportunity to present in the open meeting any prices.
Well, he didn't come back with a price.
It wasn't on the agenda to come back with a price.
Well, he said he was gonna come back.
No,
with a price.
excuse me.
You gotta make a motion
No.
to do that.
I asked if I could contact them. You didn't say anything about a price. I told you already that they said $10,000 to $12,000 was probably accurate, but to be more specific, she would like to come up and meet with staff next Monday.
Well, the problem I have with the whole thing is that it sounds like if they've been doing stuff with this irrigation district before, they should have had some kind of a ballpark that they could have given you, but at least get it done.
Weren't you part of that?
That's why.
Of the irrigation
Okay,
district?
we're all
before?
talking out of turn here again.
Now, what I'm suggesting is,
Let's raise our hand, let's identify ourselves, and let's keep moving on here. That is behind us.
Once again, here comes the dictatorship.
No.
You don't listen. You don't listen to anything anybody says. It's your way or no way. And I just would like you to open your mind to maybe there are some other ideas out there. It's not.
You're having the ability to stand here and talk back and forth. And every one of you have had that ability right now, which you did not have 2 months ago. And so
Oh,
don't sit here and talk
absolutely.
about
This isn't the first
being
meeting I've
transparent.
attended.
I've sat out in that audience and been told to shut up and keep quiet for the whole damn meeting and had no reason whatsoever to even raise my hand. And when I did raise my hand, I was totally ignored. So your ability to sit here and talk is something that's new in this district this year.
Wow, it's
It's
almost
been a
like I'm
couple years
living in
since
the
it's
United
been that
States,
way.
right?
Huh?
It's almost like I'm living in the United States, right?
Yeah.
Okay, we don't have a
Okay,
dictator
I
here.
understand that.
So what I'm saying is, free up your mind and listen to some of these.
I haven't
I want the
identified
slate
you as
cleaned. I don't
being
care
a-
who does it.
So,
I don't care
John?
who does it. I want the
My
lake
name's
cleaned.
John Smith. I am a ratepayer. From reading an article that was in the Moses Lake paper, it seems there's people that come to these meetings and they aren't even ratepayers. There was one person quoted as being here from Ephrata. And it's like, if we have people coming to these meetings, being disruptive and taking up space and taking up time, and they're not even ratepayers, I have a problem with that. It's like, this is America, but they don't have a dog in this hunt. You know, if they're not a ratepayer, what are they here for? And especially if they're gonna be disruptive, we don't need it. So if there's people here that are not ratepayers, I'd sure like to invite them to leave, myself.
That door works both ways though. It doesn't really matter.
Are you a ratepayer?
Yes, I am. I own property right here in Moses Lake. I've lived here most of my life.
We're getting clear off subject here. The next thing we want to.
My question is are you?
Todd?
Me? Yeah. I said I was.
Fair enough question.
I will allow one more remark here, and Todd, go ahead.
I'm gonna go out on, my name's Todd Wolf, I live at 1538 South Lakeway Drive. I'm probably, go out on a limb here and say I'm the biggest ratepayer. I own over $1,500,000 worth of properties in the city, or in the district. And I also live on the lake. My concern is cleaning the lake. I don't care about any of this stuff. I want to know how we're gonna get the lake clean and what we're gonna do to move on with this thing. These meetings, I've been to 2 of them, and it's a rodeo.
Yeah.
I've never seen anything like this in my entire lifetime. And I think we need to go on to business. We need to find out what the proposed way of cleaning the lake out, whether we're gonna have a dredge, whether we're not gonna have a dredge. These are concerns that I have as a ratepayer. And the biggest ratepayer in this room right now, probably. So, can we just move on?
Yeah.
Rather than argue.
I appreciate that, and
Yeah.
we're moving on.
Yeah, thank you.
We have a motion to send out the refund notices by February 14th. And I would like to put that in the form of a motion and ask for a second.
I'll second that. Needs to happen.
We
Right now, we're about a year behind, and we need to be on that, so we need to get that moving. Need to send the letters out to people, let them know if they're due or not.
In the last meeting here, we were talking about it. And I thought we could make an offer, a settlement offer. Talking to Chris Reese, our attorney, he said you can call it a settlement offer if you want, and we'd be leaving off the interest. Talking to a couple people, our county assessor, county treasurer, it sounds like we do not have to pay 12% interest on any money back. Daryl Pheasant said that whatever the money would be that they could have made by putting it into interest, which at this point in time, from 2008 until 2011, probably would have been somewhere, he felt, in the 2.5% to 3% bracket. And he said, if you want to be fair, and that'll hold up in court, offer somewhere in that bracket. And so I would like to say that we go ahead and offer 3% interest, and we'll make a chart showing from brackets, so that if somebody paid $200, that they would get this much automatically as far as prefigured interest. And if they paid $250, then they get this much in pre-paid. So in other words, we put it in the brackets there and make it very simple for the staff to say this is how much interest you have and this is how much you're willing to offer. And I think that we can get a chart put together, probably take one of the CPAs here in town and give them the numbers and let them figure it for each bracket, and that's what we'll offer. And I think it'll be a fairer way of doing it, and we don't have to have a squabble about interest at that point in time. And but the main thing is, I want to work with Chris Reese to get the interest paid. I want to work with him on getting this letter that we can stuff in the envelopes. And I want the envelopes, as far as I'm concerned, ready to go by January 14th. And if we have to, February 14th, excuse me, February 14th. Have it ready to be stuffed in the envelopes. If you've got to bring your people from the field, bring them in to help address envelopes. Kurt, I think that's what we want to see happen.
Can I
Sure.
speak? We have been working previously, just looking at the list. I don't feel this date's feasible for all corrections to be made on the county list. We've had 3 people working every day on it. I mean, I agree that we need to get it done.
Yeah.
And the date, I don't think is realistic to get them all out. Those that we know correctly, that there's some we can get out, but I really don't think this is a feasible date, to be honest with you.
So what are you thinking?
Julie's more in depth in this. She's been lead on this, and I'd like her to maybe get a little better.
I mentioned last meeting about the problems we're having with our list.
Right.
We've had 3 people working in here around this table since last week's meeting, for a week now.
Are we addressing envelopes, Julie, or are we just trying to?
We are trying to identify problems with our list that we used for the election that was produced by the county. It's full of Black Sands Irrigation District people. There's all kinds of et al. Entities that you have to cross-check. We're finding a ton of errors. I can't even begin to tell you how many we have. We've got stacks of different scenarios going on. I don't believe that we will be, until we complete that and get it corrected, which is going to take a time. I think we're going to have to use the title company. I think we're going to have to use Chris Reese before it ever goes to the county to straighten out some of the messes that we're seeing right now. Otherwise, we are going to risk a huge liability, refunding money to ratepayers or ratepayers that have sold homes. Some of them sold in 2004. They're still showing ownership in the property on account. We're going to have huge liability issues by issuing refunds of assessments to the wrong people. And I don't know that we can, I know the urgency,
Right.
I know the goal, but Jeannie, are you back there around the corner?
I am.
Okay, because would you give the update you gave me earlier today? Because Jeannie's, you know, we're all working here, but she's got a real hands-on with it as far as progress. Where are we progress-wise after a week?
I have a stack this thick of just the R's with errors. And I'm 1/3 of the way through the R's. Just the R's.
Yeah.
And the stack is that
Did you start at A or did you?
No,
Oh,
just,
okay.
I started at R.
Oh, okay. That's what
I
I'm
started at R, and my thick, it's that thick. These are people, like she said, people that sold property, they're still on the county list. There's, I told you last week, there's one that's not listed at all.
Are you working from that book, that pile that paperwork that I gave you, or are you working
No,
off of something
I'm-
else? Is
This
that
is
supposed to have been the latest, greatest, final?
So is the one we were given for the election.
Yeah, I honestly think when they changed their software and merged everything into their news Terrascan, I think it skewed stuff that they don't even know about. And if our district, where I've got 4 huge binders that thick of lists that we ran off of for election, has got that many errors in it. It really scares me for all the other 70-some junior taxing districts in the county.
Yeah.
So our problem here, I think, is a much wider scope than it
Well,
maybe initially
Julia,
appears to.
that pile that I gave you, have you started through that? or have
I
you-
flipped through it. There's a lot of mortgage companies in there, and they don't get refunds.
Well,
We have to go back to,
that's why we gotta go back to the people, obviously.
that's what we're
Uh,
doing. We're working off our huge
Yeah.
list, not just that list, but the huge list to do that, and it's labor intensive.
Yeah, yeah.
Our trucks haven't left out here
Okay, now, we're-
because of the work we're doing in here.
Yeah.
percentage-wise, about how far have you gotten through, percentage-wise?
A third of the way through R.
Okay, so you're at,
The boys, one of the boys is working on A's. He probably isn't even halfway through the A's.
so we've got
Another
taken
one's
that.
on M or something.
Well, I'm trying to get it in my head.
You
in my-
can't,
You can't, we can't, we're trying to wrap our arms around grabbing it and pulling it in and dealing individually with every parcel.
Yeah.
I'm just getting two
It's
mixed
being-
stories here.
Oh, you're not.
One from
No.
the county, I'm one from the county that says, this is the final thing, this should be 100%. And I realize that a lot of that is finance companies, and so
Okay.
whether we send the notice to the finance company and say, these are the parcels, notify these people.
Well, but also remember I said that the county sent me 3 lists for the election and told me, okay, here it is. Oh, there's mistakes there. Here's number 2. Don't use that one. Please don't use that one. Here's number 3 and it's right. And that's where we're finding all the errors. So
It sounds to me
I
like
think they
we're,
don't know what they have going, unfortunately.
just by listening, it almost sounds like we're months away from it.
I would say we're months away from it. It is ultimately our responsibility, and I can almost guarantee you that since 1928, no other staff in this district has taken this on, but it is our responsibility to make sure
Alright.
our list is right. So this is the initial process that we really need to go through before we start shoving money out the door.
Well, let me ask a question then. If we were to put something in the paper, letting people know that if they request it, can we go to their particular name and check them first and issue them a check? Or do we have to wait till everybody's taken care of?
Well, we did that. That's what we did initially, is we let people know.
Yeah, we let them know, we didn't say, if you want a refund, and make it nice big, we'd put in big giant ads and everything
Well,
else.
it was advertised, and we've been dealing with those as they've come in. Okay.
Which has been
So-
very few that have actually picked up on it. But,
Well, wasn't the county the one that got it wrong in the first place and was the one that's collecting all these taxes on these people, so.
Somewhere,
we don't know
who,
we don't know.
we can get a deal with it.
We don't know who made the problem, who turned these all in as being part of the district and received the money for it. We do not know where that all started, but we know we got a problem and we need to get it fixed.
So can I just ask that you give us a little more time
Sure.
to see what kind of progress we can make as we continue
Okay.
to work on it?
All right.
And staff does, we understand the urgency. These guys have got their heads buried. They're not even coming up for air back here.
Yeah.
So, can we just let it,
Let's,
see how it sifts out for another month or so?
I
And
would,
maybe readdress it
appreciate-
in March and give you an update?
sure, yeah.
I'm just
See,
asking for time, because
let's,
we want to do it right.
Let's let it go until the March meeting, and then,
Give you a report, see
and
where
give
we're
a
at.
report. I would put that in the form of a motion that we let these refunds, try and get our act together here as far as knowing which ones.
We don't need a motion on that.
Well,
Just need to give you a
it sounds like we need a
progress
motion on
Yeah.
it. We're okay with that?
Just request. We cannot have 2 motions on the floor.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Let's
Well,
We've got
stop
2
it.
motions on the floor right now.
All right, well, I'll rescind both of them, as far as, I think I'm the one that made both of them, so, I will rescind both of them, and we'll ask staff to try and have something ready for us by the March meeting.
Okay, so you're rescinding that motion and you're also.
Withdraw is the proper term.
I'm sorry?
Withdraw.
Withdraw, okay. The motion for the notices as well, okay, got it.
Okay.
Rich,
I will likewise, they'll be
are
working
you
with
willing to
this.
withdraw your second?
Do I need to? I mean,
Yeah.
motion, yeah, I would draw it, okay.
I will also work with Chris and see what we can do to get a report on a interest chart. That'll be very easy that we can put out there, and when they walk in, tell us how much they have coming. We can give them the interest rate at that point in time. And
Chris has a program. I'll have to just give him the dates, plugs it in, and boom, we got it.
okay. Chris Reese has it? Okay, well, I'll work with Chris on that then, and maybe we won't have to even go to a CPA then. We've asked for a list of all employees, rate of pay, title, job description, and what they're doing now. I put that in the form of a motion, and I'd like to have that list given to us by February 14th.
I'll second that motion. I'd like to see that.
I think you've been asking for it for a long time.
I'd like to see it.
Discussion?
I just have a question here. I think this is, well, I guess it's more of a comment. I think that's inappropriate. You have contracted with a director. That's who reports to you. The staff report to him. He should be the one that hires and fires and determines
Our
the
manager
pay.
you're referring to?
Correct.
I understand, but as director, I'd like to know who we got working for us and what they do and that kind of thing. I mean, as a director,
I think that's I don't think it's any of your business what they're being paid.
Okay.
I don't agree.
You're approving a budget that has a salary amount to it.
Maybe.
Maybe.
We'd like to know where the money's going regardless.
I'd like to know, I want to know. I mean, every month I'd like to see where the money's being spent and where it's going, and I think as a director, to protect you guys, we should know.
You are here to set policy, not to micromanage. You hired a manager to manage.
That's not micromanaging, that's being informed.
You have a budget to go by, that's your information.
I'd like a little more information. Now, all I want to do is ask for it.
Yeah, Wayne?
Wayne Rimple, 2047 Bel Air Place. My question is to Richard Archer is, how long have you been here?
In Moses Lake?
Yeah, no. How long have you been here on this board and you don't know who the employees?
This is my second year.
You still don't know who the employees are in this?
Other than what the ones I've seen out in the field and
That's a
talked to them.
pretty misinformed director.
I understand.
And that's your fault.
That's why I'm asking for this.
But it's your fault, Rich.
Yeah.
You've been here for 2 years and you've done a damn thing.
As a director, can't you go around
Just,
and meet
I
employees?
want to identify you first, and I will ask that you give your name.
I'm Mary Perry, I live on the lake, and I'm a rate payer. As a director, isn't it your responsibility to go out and meet the employees if you want to know them? Then why are you asking him to provide me information?
We also have temporary employees that come and go. I don't necessarily ever see them guys. I'd just like to know who's working for us. I mean, we had one of our guys that was a temporary employee that was passed away, died in a car accident down in Tri-Cities. I'd heard about it from a ratepayer that told me about it, and I didn't even know the guy worked for us. And I felt like that was kind of crazy, you know, how the heck did I not even know this guy? So I'd like to know what's going on.
I think we're entitled to know who works here, what their job description is, and I think that is a very easy question to be asking, and I think we need the answer. And I just,
Yeah. Jennifer Carroll, my concern's different. I'm just, since you're putting the refund of the rates back to my concern is where they're gonna get the time to do this by February 14th if you've got them working full-time on the refunds.
Honestly, I think the employees can pretty much fill out a piece of paper that says, I do this, and give it to Kurt, and he can pass that along to me. We're not asking for it.
Ron?
Mr. Chairman,
Ron
Baker. The simplest way to handle this is for the board, if they choose to, is to direct Mr. Carpenter as manager to prepare any staff report to the board that you need. In other words, you don't need to ask individuals what they do or don't do and how much they get paid. Ask the manager to prepare a report and submit it to you and give them a deadline.
Yeah, that's basically what we're doing. Yeah.
Well,
we're not asking
quite across that way, and I thought
we're not asking each employee to come up and tell us what they're doing. We're asking our manager give us a report what they're being paid, what they do, and what they're doing now, and
Well, I think in terms
so
of your getting
it's-
on board, you also need to request from the staff what operating policy they're under and what human resource policy they're working under. I just received a letter from the secretary that wanted clarification of what policy manual I was requesting to review and what human resource policy I was requesting review. So this needs to be reviewed, the whole thing.
Right.
And I think your audit your performance review of how the district operates ought to include some of the policy that they're operating under as well. I think that'll help the board
well,
considerably.
we're asking him to do certain things, and it just depends on how deep you want him to go. But
Well, as I understand it, it's not always about numbers.
Right.
You know, he's an accountant, sure, but in a review of policy and how it's carried out by staff is very important to the board. You may want to change the policy in some degree.
But basically, that's what we're asking for. Is
We're not talking about a key before, we have very, very few employees. It shouldn't take very long.
I would assume that they have been hired under.
How many?
I think we got like 3 different, I'm getting like 3 different subject matters here in my brain.
Yeah,
We need to and run, I'm not sure, I'm not following this.
I think we need to get back to our
confused.
original part here, and that is a list of the employees' rate pay, title, job description, and what they're doing now, and we ask that be turned over to the board here by February 14th.
Maybe this motion should include that it's directed to the manager for him to deal with and provide the information.
These are all directed to the manager. I mean, that's who we direct our directions to, is to the manager. And it's up to him to make sure it happens. That was by February 14th. I will second. You seconded it. I made the motion. All those in favor say aye.
Excuse me. Can I have a...
Well, I've been calling on the whole crowd. You didn't have your hand up. Go
Well,
ahead.
you see, you have two sets of rules up here. Mr. Archer can speak at will. He doesn't have to raise his hand. I have to raise my hand. I think you ought to treat us the same. Don't you think that's fair?
I don't know, Ron. You didn't treat us fair before, so go ahead.
Oh, see, this is exactly it.
This man needs to grow up.
I just want that cleaned up.
I question the legality of this, and so therefore, I'm somewhat hesitant to vote in favor of it without talking to our legal counsel. So therefore, I'm gonna vote against it simply because of that. Now, if we find out that it's all legal, and we're not extending ourselves into areas that we shouldn't be, then I wouldn't have a problem with it. But until I know that, I will be voting against it.
All right. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed?
No.
Okay. I know for a fact that Rich has been asking for this information since he got on board and has yet to receive it.
Several meetings I've asked who's working for us, working, making this, and
So, enough of that subject.
Rich,
Let's move on.
excuse me, but I've been here less time than you have, and I know all the employees.
you know, I understand, I know that, you know, all the temporaries and everybody.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't.
Well, you just have to
I have a
get
full-time
involved.
job also.
Well,
Unlike you who retired and kind of places.
Okay, let's keep the conversation going on here. We've asked for a small works roster that would be year-round. This is got to be taken care of by resolution. I would move that we get a hold of Chris as soon as he gets back, Reese, and have a resolution ready by the February 14th meeting. I put that in the form of a motion. Second?
I'll second that.
Discussion on small works roster? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried, all three. We asked our manager for an incident report, and I don't know that we actually put a finished the motion or not. We've had, I think, 5 or 6 or maybe even 7 incidents that have happened this last year. We gave that list to you last time, Kurt, and I'd like to put it in the form of a motion that we have a report back from you by February 14th.
I'll second that motion, Ken.
Discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. We're asking for a letter from our attorney, and I don't know that this was approved with the motion or not, but as far as the lease going out to 4Bs, my feeling is that we will be out of that warehouse before the 6-year period that we actually signed the lease for. I think we can drop it at any time with a 60-day notice, but I want him to look in on that and report back to us, and he can possibly have a letter put together that we can send out to 4Bs, letting them know that we may not be using it for the whole 6-year period and not to count on it. I would put in the form of a motion that we have a letter ready by February 14th to go to 4Bs.
I'll second that too.
Discussion?
Yeah, discussion?
I see nothing wrong with having Chris look into it and make a determination according to the contract, whether we can get out the thing in 60 days. I see no reason at all to pay him to draft a letter to send to the folks. If we need 60 days, we need 60 days, and when that point in time comes, then fine. Well, but a letter doesn't need to go now.
Well, the only reason I'm sending a possible letter to them is the fact that if they're anticipating that they've got at least for 60 days, or whether they got it leased out for 6 years, I think they'd kind of like to know. And
we have a contract with them.
Well, yeah, that's why they probably think they got 6 years. But if they do not have 6 years guaranteed, I want them to know about it so they can be aware that it could end in a very short period of time.
But don't you think they know that already? Don't you think they're aware of that?
Not when you sign
Is
it.
that our responsibility to see that they signed the contract as well?
Yeah. I just think it's
I just don't see.
I think it's a goodwill thing.
I don't see a need or the urgency to pay for a letter to be drafted.
Should we just in the form of a motion?
Should we just have,
Or did I already put that in the form of a motion?
can we just get,
Let me see if we actually.
Yes, you made the motion, Rich
Okay, yeah.
seconded.
Okay, it's been moved and seconded.
Can't you do a letter in-house? Why would you have to do a legal letter?
It doesn't have to be legal, but I want him to look into the contract.
Oh.
And see if it does allow us to get out of it in 60 days.
Yeah, heck, if I were y'all, I'd just have your manager draft a letter in-house.
Well,
talk to your attorney,
sure.
But rather than pay the attorney to do it,
well,
then you appease everybody.
I want him to look into it, make sure that we have that option, that it can be dropped in 60 days.
Sure, I understand.
But your motion says then to have him draft the letter?
He can draft a letter stating that, yes.
Well, that's gonna cost us money.
Well, sure, it costs us money, but.
Well, if you do it in-house, it won't.
Well,
it costs us money any way you do it, so we've got this staff getting a little locked up with things to get accomplished here, so. Anyway, that was the motion. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed say nay.
Nay.
Okay, motion carried. Okay, I thought we had this all taken care of. I'm asking for a resolution for a 7-person advisory board, and I will be working with Chris Reese, our attorney, to make sure that this happens. And I'd like it to happen by February 14th, and I'll put that in the form of a motion.
I'll second that motion.
A resolution for a 7-person advisory board by February 14th. Huh?
Did you know he's on vacation?
Yeah, I know he's on vacation. He should be back by the 14th. And I can even work with his staff to make sure this gets done.
Mr. Chairman, have you now put down that list? I've already said my name, Brian Vance.
We can't tell on the recording.
Right.
The fact that you said it 15 minutes ago.
Okay.
Go ahead and say
That list that was in your mind that you wouldn't share with us last week for the 7-panel, have you put that down and actually
I read
made
their
it work?
names. I didn't last week, but I did the first week.
Yeah, I think we better review the tape because you said it's all up here. I know who I need.
I told you everybody but one person, and I told you I hadn't had contact with you. But I can sit here and tell you right now if you like again. But that's,
it'd be nice to be put down. I mean, on it somewhere.
yeah. I can tell you again if you want to know.
I wasn't here.
No, I'd like to know.
Okay, the 7-person board actually starts out. Let me kind of put my act together here. Dave Hendricks is one person. I don't know if any of you know him or not, but he is an earth-moving type person. He is up in Alaska right now, moving to North Dakota. He has done extreme adverse conditions as far as moving dirt. And I think that he'd be an asset to us out there when we're starting working on the mud and the swamps and trying to get out across there without sinking in. So Dave Hendricks is one. Ron Baker, I don't know if he's still there or not, but he's probably out in the hallway. He's a civil engineer, and I think that he knows this area probably as well as anybody. And when I'm talking with these people have all said they will donate their time with nothing compensation for them whatsoever. And Ron Baker is one.
Is he still licensed?
I don't know. I'm just asking, when you ask for somebody to donate their time.
Just ask a question.
You can't do engineering if you're not licensed.
I know that he's been a licensed engineer for a lot of years, and his word, as far as I'm good, is...
Well, I understand that. I'm not picking that apart. I just...
Okay. Another person that is on that is Mick Hansen. This happens to be a brother of mine. He lives in Liberty Lake. Liberty Lake was one of the things that we talked about on the forum as far as what they've done to Liberty Lake. And I don't know if anybody made it to that forum that night, but he lives right on Liberty Lake there. You can see a lot of this happening. But that's a very small part of the picture. The fact that he's done open pit mining, he's done freeways, he's done highways, he's probably moved enough dirt to flatten the Cascade out. If you wanted to put it all into perspective here, because he's been close to 20 years doing open pit mining in about 6 or 7 of the western states here, all over the place, and been in charge of them. Likewise, dams and highways and freeways and everything else. Another person that got planned is Woody Trihey. He is a engineer, and he likewise has done a number of things, even worked on the Sacramento River as far as dredging of it and taking dirt out of it and telling them how to handle it, actually giving a report on how all this stuff has been taken care of and a number of different things. Dan Roseberg, I don't know if any of you know Dan Roseberg or not. He's a man that was in charge of 3 of the irrigation outfits when they were doing the Clean Lakes project. And I think he's would be an asset to us for knowing the history of everything back here behind. And he has a farm out here. He farms about 1,100 acres. And I think that Dan is a man that knows what he's doing. He knows plants. He knows how to take care of them. He's a person that I think has got a very good head on him. Another guy that I'm thinking about here is Dave Geese.
Dale.
Dale Geese, excuse me, Dale Geese. Dale Geese has done a number of things. He's worked for spray outfits, he's worked for chemical outfits, he's done statewide. I mean, he's done 3 or 4 states, the whole Northwest here, going out in the field, telling them what size of insecticides they put on, pesticides and herbicides, a number of things, telling them how much they put on, how little they should be putting on, what the effect has been, and why it didn't work. And being a field person, he's right here and he's willing to donate his time. And he has a seed company. He's worked, I think, in 17 different countries, sending seed to them, actually telling them how to plant it, what to do with it. and I think he's another person that would be very strong in that committee, and know when we start spraying this water out here, start doing some of the stuff that we're doing, I think he'll be an asset that will know chemicals and know what chemicals to put on and which chemicals to stay away from, and be an asset to us there. Is that 7 or?
That's 6.
That's 6.
That's 6.
Harold?
Oh, yeah. As far as legislative, Harold Hochstetter. I think Harold has been in the legislature long enough to know exactly what's going on, and him and I have already made a trip to Olympia. He's well liked over there. He went to the caucus, and they stopped the whole caucus and just gave him a great big welcome. And he's working with the legislators at this time, along with myself, trying to get some of this information that we got going out there. We've got 2 things on the docket right now, and whether, I think you may have read in the paper tonight that we're trying to get the way we vote changed, and we're also trying to get the lid as far as the way we interpret the fact that we have a 25% lid, and then we go elsewhere in the information as far as the irrigation districts. And when you go from 8703, which is all the irrigation districts, we're limiting it down to 8784, which is the Moses Lake Irrigation and Rehabilitation District. We're the only one in the state that is an irrigation and rehabilitation district. So we're limiting our ability to tax according to what is in that section and not any other section in there. And so there's a number of things that are happening out here right now, and I'm working with a number of these people already before they're even officially on board, but we're moving on. Yeah, Dave, identify yourself.
How many, Dave McMahon's Moses Lake. How many of these advisory board members are ratepayers and landowners?
Well, let's see, you would have Hochstetter, you would have Geese.
Is he still, is he in the district?
Geese?
Yeah.
Hochstetter.
Hochstetter.
Hochstetter is.
Yeah.
Geese is, I'm pretty sure.
He's still out on the farm. He's not.
Huh?
No.
No, didn't he move into Pelican Point?
That's the piece that's out of our district.
Oh, it is out of the district?
That's why.
Okay.
Oh, yeah.
That's why I came back in.
I mean, yeah, it doesn't make any difference.
I just was curious.
Yeah, it doesn't make any difference. We've got, trying to think, Dan.
Hendricks and Baker are both in it.
Hendricks and Baker. Okay, yeah, probably 4 out of the 7. But nevertheless, I think 6 out of the 7 have all graduated from Moses Lake High School. An interesting thing, I think.
Yeah.
That they've done that well for themselves.
How often these guys get meet?
They'll meet whenever we call a meeting. And the only thing we're going to be paying them is travel.
And you got 2 guys that live out of state?
No, not that I know of. I got one that lives in Liberty Lake, which is still.
Okay, and the other guys moving from Alaska to where?
He lives right here.
He lives here.
Yeah, he lives
David Hendricks.
Yeah. But I didn't want to take time to go into this, but you asked for it.
No,
so.
that's great. I appreciate that. That's
yeah. I think when you see the quality of this board,
sounds great.
I think that we'll have some people there that have got good heads on them, and I think they are willing to work for nothing, and that's part of my plan as far as trying to get more accomplished with less money.
Well, as I said before, my whole thought on this thing is I don't care who does it. We just want the lake get cleaned up.
Yeah.
I mean,
I think that we'll keep moving on here, and then we'll get into some of the information when we get further on down here about what we plan on doing with the lake. So that's part of what I still got on. Anyway, we'll work to try and get that resolution. Julie, you got that? It's a form of a motion.
Oh, I got it backwards. Never got there.
Didn't make a motion?
You didn't make a motion.
Didn't
You, we
Just start
discussed it.
discussion.
We started,
Okay,
right?
that's what happens, you get cut off and then all of a sudden you move on and you.
That's okay.
And you, anyway, I make a move that we have a resolution for a 7-person board. I will work with Chris to make sure this happens.
I'll second that motion.
All those in favor say aye.
You got some discussion into your
Well,
address?
I thought we'd had enough discussion already. Yeah, go ahead.
I'm Beth Yonko, and I am a ratepayer. I was just wondering, when these 7 people meet with, will they meet with the board? And will it be an open meeting so we can?
This is an advisory board, huh?
Right, to the board.
To the board.
So it'll be a meeting with the board members and it won't be open to the public, or it will? I mean, I'm just
Yeah,
asking.
I don't know exactly, if we're meeting with the agencies as far as getting permits and getting different things like that, it probably will not be open to the public at that point in time.
Okay, thank you.
When we get
there,
when we get to where we got information and know where we stand on it, then we'll probably open it up, have a report back to the audience, and let the audience ask questions. But,
I just didn't know if it was public or not.
But it is kind of hard to have a crowd and then try and work as a committee amongst everybody there, so.
Because I know that over time, people have talked about that there has to be a public forum or whatever. I'm just asking.
Yeah, okay. Ron?
Just point out that if it's a committee that's meeting with the board, as the board meets, then we have to have an open meeting. So,
Well, the board don't have to meet at this particular spot.
doesn't matter where.
Yeah.
If we meet anywhere,
Right.
and 2 of us are there, it has to be an open meeting.
Right, I understand that.
So that's what I just said.
Yeah, okay. Well, I know that a year ago, or a year and a half ago, that we had a meeting down in the city of Moses Lake, and it had to do with a lot of our engineers, and maybe we didn't even have the board there. Maybe we just had our manager there. I'm not sure, Kurt.
That wasn't a public meeting, and
No, it was not.
you guys should not have been allowed to be in there.
Well, they didn't shoot run us off, so. But anyway, that was not a public meeting at that time, and I don't know that even, I think Norm Benson was there, and I'm not sure.
No, it was just,
I'm not sure of that.
Just Glenn Raffle.
Okay. Anyway, there'd probably be one person there out of the board.
Or 2 on this list that I see should be there.
On the board?
Yeah, for, oh, no.
No,
I'm talking
only
about
one of
this.
those 3
on
can
that,
meet with the
on that there.
advisory.
Yeah.
We'll probably have everybody there.
Yeah, you got some permit people here that
exactly.
you need to have on there.
Yeah,
It looks
yeah,
to me like.
you bet.
Yeah.
No, very much so. And I want to have the people there to answer the questions and be able to be smart enough to have some dialogue back and forth with Fish and Wildlife, DOE, whoever we might be facing at that point in time, City of Moses Lake. All right. We lost where we're at again.
Yeah, made the motion, we got to vote, I think.
Okay. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Guess everybody can carry. All right, so that was for the 7-person advisory board. We're moving on to the EDC membership. I've talked to the attorney about this, even showed him some of the rulings that we received back from the Attorney General's office, and reading it the way I did, he said it's a very gray area. I'm saying, and I'll put this in the form of a motion, that we do not pay EDC membership dues this year.
Want to discuss it at all?
Go ahead. I need a second.
I'll second it.
Open for discussion. Ron?
There's a letter on Julie's computer. I asked the executive director to send me a letter stating that we are not, as the EDC, a lobbyist, and we do no lobbying whatsoever. I got it on my computer. My computer and my printer still don't work like they should, and I could not print it. So I forwarded it to you, but it's on your computer in there. If you would like to see it, and you would allow her time to go print it up, you could read it. If you're set on the fact that EDC is still doing lobbying, then I guess it really wouldn't matter.
read what the Attorney General sent back. I think it's a very gray area. I got to question you what they did for us this last year. You were the chairman of the board, so tell us what they did for us. To the irrigation district.
Well, a big part of it was their involvement with the forums. That was the first issue. And we were a part of the, as were the EDC, involved with the dedication ceremony out at Common Park. They assisted us with a number of other things where we needed some help. But the EDC is set out to try to bring business to Moses Lake. And as a representative of the district, it didn't cost anybody to go there. I mean, I just went. So it was just a matter of paying the $300, and I thought it was well deserved. I don't know, you know, when you got a $675,000 slush fund, $300 doesn't seem to
doesn't sound like much, Ron, but I guess I question whether we can legally do it. And if you want to, I'm going to vote that we turn it down at this point in time, because I know that the time is coming up real shortly here, and I do not want to see that paid until we find reason to think otherwise. Discussion?
Question, do you have the printout from the Attorney General?
I gave it to Chris Reese.
Okay.
Yeah.
My only advice, comment on this thing is, you know, if it's a little bit gray, I mean, we ought to just kind of sideline it for a while. I mean, we can always go in later if it looks like something needs to be done, but we've never been part of the EDC before, and we got along just fine, so.
By sidelining it, you either got to pay the dues and be in it, or you don't pay the dues and not be in it. So it's coming up here in February, I think. It's when we paid the dues last year. So I don't know if it's for a year or not, but Wayne?
Mick, Wayne Rimple again. I'm past president of the EDC. The thing that I'd like to emphasize is the fact that the EDC is not necessarily Moses Lake. The EDC is Grant County. It covers everything. What happens in Quincy, what happens in Royal City, what happens in Moses Lake, and etc., affects the whole county. And being a part of that means a lot to the other people in the county that you're supporting it. And I think $300 is an insignificant amount for what you guys are doing right now. And I think it would be very well on your part to show the support for Grant County by supporting your membership in the EDC.
Yeah, Wayne, the only thing is, like I say, I consider it a gray area.
It's not a gray area, it's a development thing. Economic development, and that's part of everything, and you need to be a part of it. It's not, to me, it's not a gray area.
It is when you read the Attorney General's letter.
Debbie Dorn Martinez, I guess I don't understand why you're saying it's gray. All of the city participate with EDC and they maintain
We have different purposes. And the Attorney General went into irrigation districts as far as being out here and trying to going into recruiting jobs, recruiting people coming into the area. It's an irrigation district. It's not allowed. It's an irrigation rehabilitation district. That's the gray area. Mm-hmm. So, Todd?
Todd Wolf, 1538 South Lakeway Drive, ratepayer. I like Rich's idea. I think maybe you should take the consideration to table it and have the option to join it when you figure out whether you're in a legal position to do so. 300 is 300. It's not.
It's not the money.
If it's a matter of the legality purposes, I'm sure that they would allow you to join it after February if need be. I really do like the way Rich stated that. So that's
one more comment. I mean, we're not in Grant County. We're not the only irrigation district in here. So, are any of the other irrigation districts in it, Ron?
Not to my knowledge, no.
I'm just
anyway.
Move to table.
Then I didn't acknowledge you, but I will acknowledge you. You have a motion to table. Is there a second to that?
Don't need it.
You think it's passed?
No, you don't need a second to table on a table motion.
Okay.
So you take a vote. No discussion, take a vote.
All those in favor of tabling?
Aye.
You know, I'm gonna table it for, I'm gonna go with you around for now.
You're gonna do what?
I'm gonna go with you.
So you're voting it yes?
I'm gonna go, yes, okay.
Okay.
The table?
For now.
Okay, so we're just tabling it then, which does not give you the right to pay any dues on it, right? Okay.
Could you complete the vote to make it?
I will vote against tabling it. I'm for dropping it until we know different.
Okay, that's all you have to do.
Statement, it's been tabled. So put it off the table. Okay, we talked about a resolution for a vice chair. I once again will work with our attorney, trying to get a resolution put together for a vice chair, and we'll try and have that ready by February 14th. And I will put that in the form of a motion, that we have a resolution for vice chair by February 14th.
I'll second the motion.
Discussion?
Yeah, can I ask the reason? Why do we need a vice chair?
Well, in the event that I'm not here, I would like to know who's going to be in charge.
Well, so the vice chair is going to put Rich there, is that the idea?
I don't know. I will take a vote on it, Ron.
That's the kangaroo court from now.
Even make it.
I think that most organizations have somebody that takes place in the chair when they're not there, and I'm surprised the irrigation doesn't.
We have a provision in our governance policy to do that. If you haven't read it, I'm sure.
Further discussion? Call for the question here, and that is a motion for a resolution for vice chair by February 14th. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
Nay.
Motion carried.
Mr. Hansen, can I ask for a clarification? If it was in your governance policy, so you're changing the governance policy with these votes?
We're putting a resolution that will be put in. Huh?
It's not are you asking for a resolution or a motion?
No, we're having a resolution put together that will say that we will be having a vice chair. And it will be elected at the same time the chair is.
And then the governance policies would be changed at that point?
I don't know. If we have to change the governance policy to make it fit, we can do that. If there's a conflict. Okay, motion on Lakeview. We've discussed this and we've discussed it. I brought up last time that I thought the paper is quite expensive for what we get out of it. I brought up a consideration that we maybe have 2 of them a year rather than 4 of them a year, and the other 2 periods of time that we actually take out and add in the paper. And what this will do is when the Lakeview goes out, it'll take care of the people that are in the irrigation district and give them some notification of what's going on. When it goes out in the paper, you're going to catch a lot of people that are not in the district that are still interested in what the irrigation district is doing regardless. So you're getting a mixed crowd here in both of these publications, and I think that we'll have less staff time putting the ad in the paper than they ever would trying to come out with the Lakeview. Another thing that I want to see looked at in the Lakeview is the weight and type of paper we're using, as far as whether we can save quite a bit of money there or not. So, put in the form of a motion, I would like to say that we have the Lakeview twice a year, and that we actually, the other 2 times a year, that we actually bring people up to date with the newspaper.
I'll second that motion.
Ron? If I could, I'd like to make a friendly amendment, and that is to include pursuing a second-class postage rate for the Lakeview when it goes out. They're not hard to get, and it saves us substantially on postage.
Julie, can you inform us of what postage is between.
The printer's been putting us out under their bulk.
Under their
So
bulk.
it hasn't been, it's been like an average of $15, $16,
And then
$1600.
double check bulk rate versus second class postage.
Okay.
So you accept that? No.
Yeah. Is there an amendment to the motion? Sure, I'll accept that. Any other discussion out here as far as Lakeview? John?
John Smith, Moses Lake. Will the letter be printed by Moses Lake companies? Will they get first bid on the printing?
You know, I'd have to ask staff.
We keep it local.
Yeah, you use A&H? Okay, I seen A&H go through there a number of times, and I assume that's who was actually doing the printing on it. And I'm not sure who, is it a gal that actually does most of the layout and stuff on that? Not in-house, but somebody. A graphic person, right, I've seen that as well. But let's look at the ways that we can save money on it. If we can do it by postage, if we can do it by paper, if we can do it by any means, let's take a good look at it.
This is a 2 times Lakeview, 2 times CBH.
2 times a year for the Lakeview and 2 times a year for the newspaper. And I see a hand up back here.
My name's Clay Johnson. I live here in Moses Lake. I'm a ratepayer. Just one comment. I wonder if you should put in the newsletter an option to receive it by email in the future.
We will be working. We have bit off a lot here this January meeting.
No, I know.
But to say the least, yes, we do want to start an email and add to that comment. I'd like to see the minutes of the meeting be able to go on email and have it where you can bring up and be updated very quickly on what's been going on here. But yes, we do want to work on the email part of it. Okay, Mike, you got your hand up there.
Mike Brown, Moses Lake, right there. I would like to see the district pursue to put all the information on a website. You have a pretty good website. You go on the internet, well, you find all kinds of things about Moses Lake Irrigation District. But it'd be nice to have a good website like the PUD has and a few others, which puts all the information out there. It's going to take some time to put that together, but once it's there, it doesn't take very long for everything to be pasted right into it, and people can go on there and read what's happening.
Sure.
Plus, I'd also like to see the, what do you call it, your agenda on the website, so we know what's going on there before a meeting. So, you know, if we have a question, we can call a director. If they, hey, is this what's taking place or not? So there's 3 of you directors, and we need to be able to access you and get some answers. Of course, I understand Ron's got a computer problem, but I'm sure you'll get that fixed in due time. I know the city of Moses Lake, you can get a lot of information right off the internet.
Yeah,
and
we will be getting into that. I didn't want to cloud this thing with the internet, but
right. But I think that's where it needs to go.
It will be coming up, and it will be a means that we can go ahead and put the minutes on there. And quite honestly, I don't know any reason that we can't put the minutes on there as soon as she gets them put together and put the word "not approved" yet on it, because once it's approved at the next meeting, then you can put approved minutes. But how many times and how much changes do you actually do to the minutes? But if everybody knows they're not approved yet, I don't think there'd be a problem. But I think they could go on there instantly the minute she gets them all put together, which is, in this case, is going to be
next month.
Another week. I'm sorry, 2 weeks. Okay. I don't even like to look at her when we talk about minutes. Yeah.
We do have a webpage in our quarterly go on now webpage already. So that information is out there.
The minutes, you haven't been putting that on there yet.
We haven't been putting them on there.
Can I just add to that?
Sure.
The gal that was doing that is no longer here. Jeannie just had her first training last week.
Okay.
So that's all, a lot of the things you're talking about are in the works. We're trying to get up to speed on those things while we're working on these things.
We've got, I know, we've flooded you, and I apologize for dumping this much onto the office staff here. I know very well that you've got to bring extra people in here to take and try and help the staff here, because this has been a flood. And We just gotta keep plugging ahead of it. Okay, did we pass that? I think we did.
No, we gotta vote on it.
We still gotta vote on it.
You got the motion to have a rate published twice a year, and then additional rate payer information 2 times a year in the CBA. That's correct.
Okay, gonna go ahead and vote at this point in time. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried, all three. Okay, Kurt, you were going to look in, we're in the new business at this time. You were going to look into a $80,000 mobile home. Did you get a chance to talk to any of the?
We have one company that's got back to us with several, and we're waiting on 2 others.
Okay, you haven't got anything from, you got 3 outfits, is that?
3 outfits, we've got one back from, one package back from one of them, and we have 2 coming. So,
okay,
one of them, I'm guessing towards the end of the week, maybe, be getting stuff to us. We've been.
Okay, I was hoping maybe we'd have everything tonight. Is that something that we could check in as board members later on in the week and find out exactly? In other words, I'd like to have each one of us board members go ahead when they get time, review them, see what is out there, and see before the next meeting if we possibly could. And then we can at that time maybe make a judgment call on what we want to do. So
As soon as I get the information,
yeah,
I can
okay.
let you guys know.
Yeah, if you would, give us all a call and let us know that you've got the information, and we will start looking at the different places. Well,
Yeah, I still am very concerned about this water main and well approval. You're talking about going out and spending $80,000 on a double wide that we don't know that we can even set out at the park because of our water situation. And you've taken that project out of the budget. And so I wonder, I mean, it's kind of foolish to spend this kind of money until we're sure that we can actually put it out there.
that's why we're not approving it at this point in time.
Well, I mean, you're rushing this through. Call us during the week here and let us know. It gives me the impression that you're gonna jump on this as soon as you can. And I think we've got to address the water issue before we
do.
Before we buy
We
the.
definitely will. But if we need to order a unit or if we're on site, I think well, we need to look into it. And if we gotta spend $50,000 to get water to it, if we gotta, whatever we gotta do to get that water down there, we can get that taken care of, get power to it. And
But you cut it out of the budget.
we cut it out of the budget. We've got her down here for investment purposes, and we, as the board, we can go ahead and approve what we have to get that done. So I'm not leaving an open checkbook for $80,000 or $85,000 to go out here and get water brought over the hill. I think we need to look into that factor pretty strongly, because that sounds like an awful lot of money to have a well that's already drilled, that's already got a pump on it. Sure, we gotta get the permits or whatever, and it sounds like we've been in the process of getting permits for a couple of years for that thing. I don't know what we need to do to speed that up, but.
Well, it's a public system, it's not a private
Right.
system.
You won't get permits for mobile home anyway without the water.
That's what I was saying at the last meeting was, you can't do anything until you have a proven well. It's just, there's not even a chance to look at anything until you get a proven well.
Yeah, Rich.
We understand that.
Yeah.
But what we're kind of thinking is that this is just one more thing we get out of the way now. We already looked at mobile home, we decided that's what we want. When time comes to pull the trigger, we pull the trigger and we go. We won't have to go back and try to redo all this stuff, we already have it done. So that once we get our permits and we're ready to get the well ready to go, we just have to go down there, order the thing and say, get it up there. We don't have to go through this process, so we're just trying to be proactive.
Yeah.
Well, I understand that. I'm just saying that that well thing could be.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
We know that.
Yeah.
Could
No,
be pretty.
We're much aware of that, and
depending on where we're at with that, there could be a substantial amount of money dumped back into that thing to get us to the point.
And we're willing to make whatever has to happen, there happens.
And then also, like I said, then the septics, depending on what you're doing,
Yeah.
there's a lot.
I don't know how hard we push to try and get permits for that or whatever, but we'll definitely be pushing and pushing hard. And as long as we know that we might be putting a mobile home here, we'll make sure we stay at least 100 feet away from it, so we don't get into any problems there.
That's all part of your permitting
Yeah,
process.
it's all part,
Yeah, it's all
part of this things that has to happen. But we got to plan it all together, and I think that's what we're trying to do. Yeah.
Jennifer Powell, and maybe you already went over this, but I missed it. But last meeting, you said that you were gonna pay someone to come in and live there and pay them roughly $1,000 to $1,200 a month. Is that in the budget? Are you budgeting for that expense? Assuming that the trailer can go in?
I don't know how much to budget because we don't know when that might actually happen, but that can likewise be one of the investments that we're making here, because it'll be a dual purpose thing there. It'll be security as well as maintenance. So the two of them, we've got a certain amount in our budget for wages and personnel, and this would probably not fit into that category.
I was just gonna say, so that's
Yeah,
not in that.
that's probably not in that category. I don't think it should be. This is a contract type person rather than a hired person.
Do you have someone in mind for that position?
No, I have nobody in mind, so I think we need to find somebody maybe that's retired, that doesn't have a bunch of kids, that would be running around the park. I mean, these are my thoughts at this point in time, and so.
And I know these questions are farther out.
Sure.
But
Yeah.
I'm just curious. I didn't.
Yeah.
This person, Jeff Powell, this person that you have an idea that you'd like to put in this position, sounds like you want a retired person?
Not necessarily.
Just somebody like.
I think a retired person that had a little income to supplement, it'd be real hard to live on $1,000, $1,200 a month and try and, I mean, if you have all your utilities paid, you could do it, but it would not be a very good lifestyle.
So will that be something that you will open up as a job app, will be open to the public? Or
Yes.
that will be something that will be picked by the board? Will somebody be able to apply for that?
I think it'll be a combination of the staff and board, looking at these people that turn in for the thing.
Well, I would imagine we'll probably be taking like applications.
So we won't, the public will know that you're gonna put that out for application. There'll be a publication in the paper, help wanted.
Yeah, it'll be publicized. Okay. Yeah, it'll definitely be publicized. But till we get water, till we get power, till we get a slab to put it on, decide exactly where the location's going to be. These are things that we need to go down there and look and see where it's going to fit, and decide exactly where it's going to be.
I don't know if you know or not, but you are required, if that's a public water system, it all depends if it's a Class B or a Class A system. If it's a Class B system, you're not required by the Department of Health to have a certified operator, but if you go any higher than into a Class A system, you're gonna be required to hire somebody or somebody within your system that has a Class A water system to operate it.
Yeah.
So when you look for this person, if it becomes a Class A system.
No, that person will not be responsible for the water. They'll just be using the water.
So you're gonna have somebody within your Moses Lake Rehabilitation District that's gonna be certified by the state.
Whatever it takes right now, nothing will be any different there. So.
Yeah, there is a certification that requires it.
So, staff, Kobe?
I'm Kobe Hansen. I can answer your question. There are a lot of general contractors that work and have their license to run a Class A water system. Right. So we just have to find someone.
All right. I think that there's nothing required there as far as a motion goes. I just wanted to let everybody know that we will be looking at it probably between now and next meeting, and if we need to order one, if we need to be happy with one on the lot, then we can start figuring out what size and shape and everything is going to be. We've got down here a list of a larger equipment over 5,000. We talked about this last time. I'd like to have a list showing the purchase amount. In fact, I think we talked about this from the first meeting on. anything over 5,000 as far as big equipment goes, the purchase amount, and when we're talking purchase amount, where we paid rental for a while and then took that rental and applied it to the purchase, I'd like that included as far as being part of the purchase amount. The date of purchase, the hours on the machine when purchased, hours on it now, the serial number, and if you take pictures of the surplus equipment that we already have surplus, and we have something ready to send out. Is that something, Kurt, that you can possibly have by this Friday?
No.
Because I've been asking for it for 2 weeks already. I don't know what it takes to go around a half dozen pieces of machinery and get this information, but I thought Chris was gonna do it, and I don't know if he's had any chance to do it yet or not, but.
He's been working on some of this stuff. We've been getting prices that you asked. We don't have gas money to do it, to be honest with you.
You don't have what?
We don't have any gas money in the budget.
You don't have any gas money in the
We
budget?
have $67 per vehicle in your budget for the year. While the vehicles are sitting out back. So.
All of a sudden, they're all empty and $67 haven't got you enough money to go out around to the area here to get it taken care of?
That's for the year.
Well, Kurt, I'm asking that this be done. If we haven't got a rig out there that can get you around one time, then let us know.
I just don't see it being done by Friday.
When do you think you can have it by?
Next meeting?
I don't think that is adequate. I think that we've been asking for it since the first meeting, and
well, it's changed. You asked for $10,000. Now it's lowered to $5,000. That changes the list.
The what?
Your original request was
Yeah.
over 10,000. We've now requested under 5,000. That changes the whole list.
Well, if you think you can get it done quicker because we say 5,000 or 10,000, we'll go back to the 10,000. I have no problem with that. Say 10,000. Okay. Can you have it done from a week from this Friday?
A week from this Friday?
Yeah. Okay. All right. That's 1 week.
Mr. Chairman, if you change that line item, don't you have, Brian Vance, once again, do you not have to change that line item and vote on it? Since you already had a line, since you already had a budget that you approved at the last meeting? For the extra?
For the extra what?
You're going from 5,000 to 10,000 now.
No, he said
on the
that
equipment.
10,000 what we had the original pass. That was the original item, and no, we're just asking for equipment that came over. I couldn't remember if it was 5,000 or 10,000, but I thought 5,000 was a fair number, but he said it was 10,000 before. Obviously, he's got it written down, and
That's all I know about it.
yeah, okay. Let's go with 10,000, we'll have it for a week from this Friday then. You can have it in the office, so that the, any member of the board can pick that up then.
The direction of the board, sir?
Hmm?
The direction of the board?
I'll put that in the form of a motion. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
I think you're pushing him too hard. He asked for next meeting. I vote no.
He said they could do it.
I vote no.
Okay, passed 2-1.
Can we get a date from when to when on what equipment?
A date from when to when?
Yeah, because you're asking, we want to know what equipment you want.
Any piece of equipment that you got that's over $10,000, that you paid over $10,000 for.
That we,
That we own.
Yeah.
from when the district
I mean,
started?
anything. Yeah, anything that you own.
Okay.
I think the weed harvester is probably about the equipment that goes back probably the furthest that would fit into this category. And I don't know when they were purchased or how much they were purchased for, but I can't believe it'd be that hard to dig up that information. And you got hour meters on both of the machines?
Yes.
Okay.
Are you just talking rolling stock? Because we've got a pump station. we've got
Yeah,
some
no,
other
no,
things.
no, it'd be rolling stock. That's,
Okay.
that's the only thing that would actually have
Okay.
engine hours on. Rolling stock. Okay, that passed. Kurt, do I need anything when the weather turns better here, as far as the motion goes, to have you give me a couple guys to go out and help do a probe on the sandbar?
No, I'd like to request that I can help administer what you're doing, so we can GPS and keep the data and provide a decent map for this information.
Yeah, I'd appreciate you being along if you could.
Yeah, I would like to see.
Okay. What I'd like to do is run a probe down and see if it's, I got a probe that'll take us down to about 7.5 feet or so, maybe 8 feet max. Take that down and see if we hit rocks, any point out there, and that'll give us roughly the depth of what we want to go if we go out here and work in the dry.
There's some stuff that's 16, 18 feet deep.
Yeah. Okay, and take that probe, and likewise, you have engineering equipment, or should I bring my own? As far as being able to set elevations, check elevations at these points that we need.
We have transit, but we can just use GPS. You don't have to give us elevation coordinates and everything.
Okay, you got enough information there to establish elevations at each point we establish. Okay, great. You need a motion or anything saying you're going to help me with this, or is this good enough direction?
That would be the board's decision. So.
Okay, but I mean, you have no problem with it, right? Okay. All right, I'm going to assume that, do I assume here without a...
I'm okay with it.
Okay, all right. I've got a letter to the city of Moses Lake for a revision to the conditional use permit. I realize that you've got a conditional use permit with the city. This permit, as far as the city goes, is probably ongoing, but I noticed that the Fish and Wildlife permit expires March 31st of 2012.
Yeah, all HPA permits. That's not conditional use, it's HPA.
Yeah, that's the HPA.
Those are a year by year.
They're year by year.
Point of order, Mr. Chairman. This job of giving a letter to the city for a revision of the conditional use permit, that's the job of our general manager, not you. And so I think that if that's what you want to do, then we as a board pass a motion to give her the authority to move forward with this request.
I'm coming to that. So what I want to find out, though, is if we got the full board on board, or whether we got 2 on board or 1 on board. And we need to, I have a letter, and I'd like to give it to Kurt. And I think that we need to submit it to the city. This letter is not favorable as far as immediately continuing on with dredging. And I want to make sure that we have the right direction being given to our staff here, that we drop the dredging for at least a year until we have a point where we know where we're going to be operating it. And I think that we need to go, the Fish and Wildlife, we need to work with this renewal permit with them and find out exactly what they want, whether they want something different than what we gave them last year, or whether they're happy, and then we'll go ahead and extend it for another year or not, and see if they will allow us to work in the dry as well.
We just give him direction to do that sort of thing, that's all.
I'd like to be able to present my letter to Kurt and be with him when we actually submit it to the city, which would be Ann Henning and Gil Alvarado.
Is this something we need to have our lawyer take a look at, or?
Not really. I don't think this is because the things in the past have all been done with engineering firms, and probably revision is probably not going to be in the what his scope of trying to be legal is. We're going to have to take it to the city and let them go ahead and figure out
So basically,
whether we can amend the process or whether we gotta start all over again, or what's gonna happen, because right at this point, we do not have anything beyond March 31st, like I say, with Fish and Wildlife.
Well, with the current process, we have a verbal from Eric that he will allow us to do what we're doing right now, and they will renew it. And I can share with you what the process will be as far as what I...
Okay. Well, I'd like to have this letter given to Kurt, showing some of the things that we actually would like to see happen on this, so that we're not having one person going one way and the board going another.
Does the board get to review the letter?
Yep, I got it here in front of me. I would like to put the letter before the board, and at that point in time, I've got one letter that has Ron Covey's name signed onto it, and I got another letter that does not have his name on it. So at that point in time, I'll let you decide whether you want to be on it, Ron, or not be on it. But I'd like, let me finish here. I'd like to go ahead and pass the letter out, let you go ahead and take a minute to read it, and decide whether you want to be on it or not. It's a one-page letter, and why don't we go ahead and take about a 5-minute break here for the rest of us. The board, I think, unless you got to go somewhere, Ron, I'm going to leave the letter with you here, and in 5 minutes we'll call back, and I hopefully can get an answer out of it at that time.
This is my wife, Rhonda.
Hi, Rhonda. Nice to meet you. What is your name?
Sorry.
Debbie Dorn Martinez. Oh.
You know Alex? Alex here. I know. The chamber, our chamber stuff.
Years ago.
Everybody has it.
I'm
sitting here by the furnace drinking.
I know.
My name
the heater.
is Nancy Park, you're calling on me. We're ratepayers, and I just would like to say that it seemed like on your campaign, Mr. Chairman, that you weren't going to shut the dredge down. And then when I come to the meetings, it looks like it's shut down for a year. And it seems to me, as to be practical, that it would make sense to keep the dredge going. You know, maybe it's not the most efficient thing in the world, and then start the other things too. But why shut something down that's working? Thank you for taking my question.
I think if you look on my campaign, I pretty well said that the dredge was not working as far as being anything that is a practical tool. I felt that it needs to be a finished tool rather than a main piece of machinery to get the job done. And at the rate we're going, there's somewhere near 5,000 yards in that pile that's out there, and that is roughly the same amount of yardage that the irrigation district claims is coming in every year. So to think that we can go on here forever and...
No, my question, why shut it down totally?
Well, the reason is that it's costing us, we're spending a half a year here, half of our budget operating this dredge, and if it's not doing us any good, then we need to put the force on the people that are making the permits and everybody else and say, let's look at another way of doing this. And but let me get back to the letter before we open it up for discussion here, because I've had a chance to talk to Kurt a little bit here. He feels that there's parts of this letter that do need to be changed, that it's quite a bit what they presented to start out with, trying to get taken care of. I think that we've got more leverage now that we've tried the dredge, and that it has been what I consider not that successful as far as being a practical way to make it happen. I would be more than willing to work with Kurt. We'll compose a letter that he feels comfortable with, that I feel comfortable with. I'd like to be able to take that to the city with the two of us, blessing from both of us, and see if we can accomplish what we need to accomplish here to get the job done. Ron?
Why is it you and Kurt? Why isn't Kurt in the board?
Well, one thing, outside of these meetings, we clearly can't confer, right? So it's only going to take one of us at a time to work with Kurt. And honestly, Kurt has done a great job. I mean, he's gone out there, he's got all his permits. He actually has the Department of Wildlife, BLM, and all those guys saying, we're doing a great job. So it makes sense to me for us to step up, I'd say, and try to get this done in a better method. I mean, Kurt has put on a great, he's really tried hard to get this thing to work, and it's just, I mean, it's going to be slow. If we're ever gonna get this lake cleaned up, with that dredge, it's gonna take a long, long time. And if we can get this working with Kurt's help, because he's the expert here. With Kurt's help, he's been through the process, he knows all the people to talk to. I think we can get this thing done way quicker. To answer Nancy's question about keeping the dredge going, if we go out there right now with the dredge and kind of keep eating away at the edge of it, we're not going to get a lot removed, and we kind of need that edge as a dam to keep, so we can go out in there to clean that out. So by digging that out away, it's going to defeat our purpose a little bit. So let's save our money, not go out there and do that. If we can't get this done in a year, then we'll have to go back and do it. We're stuck. But I think we can save a ton of money and get it done so much faster that I think it's the right way to do it.
Do the experts all agree with that, or is that just, a small, a narrow opinion?
Just me.
I think when you talk experts, I think you've got to look at the people that have been giving us the advice so far, that we've paid hundreds of thousands of dollars to. And as far as I'm concerned, the information they have given us has all been bad. They tell us we're going to go out here and pump 50 to 60,000 yards per year through that dredge, and we've been lucky to have gotten 10%. And that's by some ingenuity on Kurt's part, not even considered on the dredge to start out with. He had had half the yardage if he hadn't went out here, got pumped it out, actually got a lot of extra drainage going here that was not figured in the original thing. And more hats off to Kurt for getting that taken care of and getting as far as we have. But we're still a long ways from what the hired people that we went out here and paid these engineering fees for and have given us information, as far as I'm concerned, is totally bad.
Okay, so their opinions.
Oh, yeah,
different
very much
opinions. Yeah.
But I'll guarantee you, anybody I've talked to that's on my advisory board has said exactly the same thing. What are you thinking? What are you thinking going out here and trying to move all that material, running it through a dredge like that, and thinking that you're going to ever get that kind of yardages out of it? And the people that we've hired, the dredge experts, as far as I'm concerned, I don't know where they come from, I don't know what their job is, but when you have to put it in a pond, have it settled, and before you can pump again, they are way off.
Last week, I believe that you said, Karen Stahl. Last week you said that there was, you said there's 5,000 yards that they took out, and you said that's as much as came in all of last year.
Right, close to that.
Okay, but they only ran the dredge for 3 months. They didn't run it, and they got 5,000 in 3 months. Because at the last meeting, we talked about the dredge, and after it had been sunk, it took another 5 weeks to get the permits and everything to get it going. So maybe Kurt could address that. How many weeks, in actuality, was that dredge working?
Well, if you took the hours that actually
Kurt, I mean, how many hours, how long was it working? Can I address Kurt?
Well, I'd have to go back to the file to look exactly, but you're pretty close to 3 months of operation.
So 3 months, 5,000. In 3 months, they got all the stuff out that came in. And then they were getting ready to get more stuff out. So it just doesn't add up.
Well, the pond never went dry the whole time that they were shut down, I'll guarantee you that.
Our permitting process only allows us for so much time anyway. I mean, we're limited.
I know, but how much time? It's got to be more than 3 months.
How much is it?
Well, we've got a 5-year permit with an extension of 1 year, and depending on how the project's going, that can be extended.
Which can operate how many months a year?
5 months per year, right?
6, because we have the month of March.
Oh, okay.
So even if we doubled it.
Well, it's still taking out more than's coming in, and it's environmentally safe.
Barely.
It's twice as much.
Go ahead.
My name is Clay Johnson. I live on Elgin Road, which is right across from Wild Goose Point. I call it the lagoon, live on the little. Well, let me start by saying I'm fully in support of any means to make this go faster. But I believe it was in 03 or 04, the district actually mechanically removed quite a bit of material out of out of the Wild Goose Point Lagoon, I'll call it, and I don't know all the facts exactly, but as far as, to my understanding, they were run off. I mean,
They did have the permits.
okay, so it was.
That was the big, it was
So
not.
there is some
Yeah,
hope that we can get.
if they've been out there with the dredge, they've still been right off, you know?
Well, no,
so-
okay.
Yeah, it's not, it
All right.
wasn't the process, it was the fact that.
My
they-
question is
without
there is
permits.
some opportunity possibly to do it mechanically versus.
Right, that's what we're.
Because the common publicity is that the dredge is the only approved method, is that not true?
That is.
Actually, at this point in time, we couldn't start the dredge up again without getting new permits from the Fish and Wildlife.
So you start from square one anyway?
No, you're not square one.
Oh.
No, they will probably renew them without
Oh, I see.
any changes, to go out here and work in the dry. Information I have, is the fact that they do not want all that island taken out of there, the Fish and Wildlife.
Right.
They're talking about leaving a main part, a sliver, as you might call it, or a teardrop, down through there where the stream actually runs in next to the lake shore. We'd be going out so far and leaving a center section for the geese. And they're talking about in the fall, when we're working there, that the geese will probably be one end or the other, and when we're working on that end, but they do not necessarily want that whole island taken totally out of there.
But they're not verbatim against mechanical.
Yes, they are. Yes, they are.
That's what okay.
It's not environmentalist.
Let's leave that up to looking forward.
Well, part of the permit that said, came from Fish and Wildlife, said there's actually 3 ways mentioned there that it could be done. They asked that it be done in the dry, and when they spelled out the dry, they said by equipment working, large equipment working along the shoreline and coming out, then also by dredge, and then also by a barge. And so there's 3 ways that actually has been addressed. Might be possibly permitted, but I don't know when it comes to the barge and working off the barge. I don't know how you're going to get a barge out there floated and not be contaminating the water when you try and bring it back out of there. So that would probably be a harder sail. But the fact that we're working in the dry should be easier sail than actually running the dredge, because you got less water contamination than you would have.
Anyway, there is some opportunity, apparently, a sliver of hope.
Well, there's a sliver. I mean, it's more than a sliver. I think that we present it the right way, showing that there will be an end in sight someday. That this isn't going to go on for 100 years. I think that should be an incentive for them to work with us. And until we actually talk with these people, sit down, take our advisory committee as well as some of the people that we've already had involved, and sit down and talk with them and see what can possibly be done here to make it work for everybody. We really don't know.
You answered my question.
Okay.
Mr. Chairman. It's not technically the barge, maybe Kurt can answer this. It's not the barge, the dredge that's the bottleneck, it's the dewatering process, correct?
Correct. That's mainly it. Yeah.
So, once again, if we could get, and there are different ways to extrude water from mud and stuff at a quicker rate, why are we not exploring that and keeping the dredge operational since we have those permits?
Okay, to answer that question, I think Kurt is working on trying to get some way of getting these ponds either back into the lake or back into a bigger settling area. I'm not sure exactly what he has in mind there. That's something we can work.
Well, that's what I mean. And so I guess my concern, which I've said several times, is I hate to see it already in the budget that we just slashed and burned the dredge out of it, and there's no possibility it's running this year. I would like to see us continue to move forward, at least not go backwards.
Right.
Yeah, I think that to tell the truth, if we can get this working in the dry, in 2 days' time, we will have as much dirt as you see there right now.
I agree with you, but in the meantime,
my idea is if we can save $500,000 by not firing up that dredge and putting it into a savings account or whatever we got to do to have that money to work in the dry, Like I say, in 2 days' time, we'll have a pile as big as what we've got there now, and the time you work there for 3 months, you'll have half that job done. Kobe?
My name's Kobe Hansen. Now, remind me, how many thousands of yards have to be removed from the lake?
The original estimate was 300,000.
That's a max.
That was the top figure. And they were talking somewhere in the ballpark of 50 to 60,000 per year.
So if we net out 5,000 yards, how many years is that?
If it's coming in at 5,000, which is one of their figures,
But you
it never ends.
can break out 10 if they double their numbers.
Well, if they could get 5,000 a year, and you've got 150 years, somewhere around 100 plus years, depending on how efficient you are. But Todd?
Todd Wolf, 1538 South Lakeway Drive, Moses Lake. I'm a ratepayer, and by no means am I representing the City of Moses Lake. I'm also the chairman of the City of Moses Lake Planning Commission, and I sit on a 3-man subcommittee. And the City of Moses Lake is in the process of adopting a shoreline master plan with the Department of Ecology. In that shoreline master plan, and by all means, if you've ever read it, you can go on the City of Moses Lake's website and you can see much of the information that's on there. Just click it on. It's on the left-hand side, about 6 icons from the bottom. It's about a ream of paper thick. It's really a complicated thing that the City of Moses Lake is involved with, but they have accepted monies in lieu of adopting a shoreline master plan. And in this master plan, it addresses a lot of shoreline issues, everything from docks, public docks, shared docks, to management of shorelines with regard to the Fish and Wildlife, the DOE, the DNR, the Corps of Engineers. It's a huge process, and it's a timely process. And we have till 2013 to adopt this master plan. If we don't, they will adopt this master plan for us. And right now, the Department of Ecology, fortunately for us, they're short-staffed. They're in litigation with some other agencies, cities around the area, so we're kind of off the hook on adopting our shoreline master plan. We've probably got a reprieve of till March, maybe 1st of April. Having said that, I think, and hey, by all means, I'm the guy that's for the, and there's no question that your process will work, and we all know that you can move more material than what it is. That's a given. I'm just concerned that you shut the dredge down and not get a permit. I know how long it's going to take. I know the process that you're going to go through. I know the stumbling blocks that you're headed for, and I'm not an attorney, and I don't know how they're going to react to your letter. I haven't even seen your letter, and I would like to look at the letter at some point in time if that's possible. But having said that, you're looking at not months. You're looking at years.
Todd, here's the thing we don't know is how much of the information that we've already given can be renewed. And,
you can throw everything you've already done out the window and start with your track layer. Well, yeah. I didn't know. I know. I actually do know because I work with them, or I try to work with them. They don't work with us very well.
It's funny that Gil Averado and Ann Henning gave me a permit revision piece of paper here and said
the City of Moses Lake is one of the agencies that you'll be working with.
Sure.
I'm not saying that the City of Moses Lake is not going to allow you or is going to allow you. You've got to work with 7 or 8 different agencies.
I realize that.
So anyway, I'm just concerned at shutting the dredge down. I'm all for whatever it takes to clean our lake, to move the sediment, to do what we need to do. And I've been to all of the forums. I've sat in on all of them. I've listened to all the numbers and watched all this and saw the beautiful pictures of the lakes that they've already dredged from here all the way to Michigan, and it all looks good.
Anytime you look at these particular dredgings, most of them have had the water allowed to come back into the body. And in this case, we are required to trap that water and let it submerge out. And this money that we're putting aside right now, which is money that we would be spending on the dredge, that's what we basically cut out of the budget. There's $600,000. Is not money that necessarily is going to go on to the next project, or going to be money that we could put into the dredge. This is money that we already owe right now.
And I understand that.
And we are maybe taking almost all of it for a refund here to give it back to these people.
And the refund, I understand all that. I'm just concerned that stopping it, then now we're gonna have more material coming in for the next year, and everything that we've done is gonna be lost, you know, and
well,
so that's my concern. But
we've got to know exactly what the Fish and Wildlife would like from us here. To come in here and cut a keyway in like we did this last year here, may be more detrimental than the fact that we should have been going out here in the pond, going down to one end or whatever and working. To come along here and whack a keyway out makes it to where it's very hard to have a smooth shoreline. When you have that, then it's not picture perfect, but nobody's asking for it to be. But on the other hand, we don't need to go in here and have to leave a jog in it if we're going to have a nice uniform looking island out here.
I understand what you're doing, and I can appreciate what you're doing, and that's really the only comment that I had. I appreciate that. Thank you.
Ron?
Yeah, the question came up about a new way of dewatering, and I think Kurt would be the one to address this because he's familiar with it. He has, my understanding, has asked for a revision to the permit. Maybe you could explain to them so they have a concept of what you're wanting to do.
We are in the process. We haven't submitted because if we do submit this, they're going to pull what we submit, and that's one thing we need to, or would like to discuss with you. What we've been working on to submit is with the secondary pond to return the water down the railroad right away through a series of weirs. The railroad's verbally approved that. We've had verbal approval through Department of Ecology. It's just a matter
this is the pond then on the other side of the railroad from where the ponds are now?
No, our existing pond.
Okay.
There's two. There's a secondary,
right.
You know, your settling pond, and then your secondary, and then running a weir from it to the right of way, the ditch that's on the lake side of the railroad, and running it down the railroad tracks back to the lake. There's a series of weirs that have to be designed, you know, which is going to take engineering, and that has to be proposed to them through engineering. Some of those tools have been taken away from me to finish that, but those are things I was hoping that you'd work with staff on. But right now, we submit this, then it will stop if we submit this. So there has to be some decisions made. And I can go through this. You probably don't want me to go through this in public with you on what permits are going to be required.
Let's get together. Let's get together and try and come up with something that fits both our needs, and be more than happy.
And I'd work with you. I'm not trying to be negative or nothing, but I do, on record, want to let you know that we have been denied. This was the first process that we submitted in this project, and we're denied. That's why we ended up with the least invasive of the dredge. We just want to get that right.
And I guess the thing that we likewise have to look at, quite honestly, is whose mud is this? Is it our mud? Is it our responsibility to be getting this out of there? Is it the responsibility of a few taxpayers around the lake? Does it go back to the Bureau of Reclamation? I don't want to get an argument started here, but on the other hand, we need to know whose problem is this? I mean, if they want us to take care of it, then make it to where we can do it in a practical manner that isn't going to be a lifetime process for us and our kids. Ron?
I'm just going to say something here. It's I can't justify your comments when you just shoot from the hip and you say, and save $500,000 on the dredging project. This year it was budgeted for under $200,000. So you give the impression to the audience of one thing, and when in actuality it's not that, it's something different. So I think you need to work on that and make sure that you give them accurate information. It bothers me when you don't.
Ron, I know that this project started in May, as far as putting the ponds together, as far as putting the pipe together, getting ready so that on July 1, we were ready to go, and which is exactly what happened. July 1, they fired up and took off. And I don't care how you slice it, the staff, everything else is charged to this job. Now, if you charge the staff and everything else to something that's out here down to the Conley Park or whatever, then tell us. But somewhere, we spent 1.4 million last year, or close to it, and over half the year we spent doing the dredging, and that was our main project. So call it how you want to. I don't care. But if I was bidding the job, I'll guarantee you.
Don't give them inaccurate information. Then say what you think and just let it go.
That's fine. That's what I think.
I know there's over $200,000 budgeted towards that, but that was, part of that was supposed to be so we could hire a trucking firm to come in and move the dirt. Now it's been moved. So,
yeah. Yeah.
Why is it that, Doug Dialis, why is it that the Bureau isn't paying for part of this?
Well,
they're the ones that are bringing the dirt in.
You know, if we can get out here and get our permits and do it economically, then I'd say, hey, let's take it on. But if we get hassle from every state agency and everybody out here, why are we sticking our neck out here and trying to do this job when maybe it isn't our responsibility?
I don't see that it is.
Well,
you know,
this is the
we
big,
didn't have the mud problem until they started bringing more water in.
well, this is one of the big ifs of what we're doing here, and I think that we need to address that.
Next year they're going to bring more water in, they're saying, and they're going to bring more mud in.
And if we have to fight state agencies, then put the saddle back on them and let them say, okay, how are we going to get this done? Are we going to get it done? If the Fish and Wildlife has got such an attitude as far as not allowing us to do something here, then, hey, maybe we don't have to do it. You know, I'm not saying that we let this lake go, and that's not my attitude at all. But I think we need to look at it as far as whose responsibility is and put it back there that we're willing to do it, but we're not going to come out here and fight for everything we have to do to get the information done. Go ahead.
Don Sell, 15695 Baseline Road, ratepayer. On the dewatering issue we're having in the ponds, have we tried mechanical dewatering? Is that an option, or
it's too slow? The dredge produces more than, we've looked at various dryers and tumblers and whatnots, and we can't find anything large enough to keep up with.
How many gallons a minute are we talking? I'm
well,
curious.
Where'd Chris go?
Chris.
How many gallons a minute is that dredge? 22?
A little bit more. I don't know right off the top of my head.
Yeah, somewhere between 2,000 and 3,000.
And how big's your pond?
Well, the pond's only
you
large.
got two, you got a settling pond.
We
you got
have 2 ponds, and we can operate that for a day in the one pond. And then,
so you run for one day, how long is it gonna settle?
well, we drop it overnight, and it depends at how far you have the mud in. It gets less and less because you're filling that pond with mud, and you have to get the mud high enough to push the water out through the weir so you can get it to clean it out. Our process was down to operate in 3.5 days, 2 days clean out. That's what we finally got the process down, and that's one unfair judgment on it, is because that first year is a huge training year. This is a piece of equipment that you don't just jump on and run like a lawnmower. And even the dredge guys that we had visited and trained with, Chris, what was the location that we went down to? Palapa Bay. The first year that they bought their own brand new dredge, and they were cleaning up around docks and stuff. And the first year, they worked 3.5 months, and they only pulled out 1,500 cubic yards. And then they could pump theirs straight out to the current in the river, and took it out to the ocean. They didn't have to handle the material. The second year, they produced 15,000. The third year, I think they're down there to 25,000 to 30,000. So
Learning
their
curve.
learning curve, you know, and being able to operate and so, you know, with last year, in my opinion, it's not a true picture of what that dredge can do. And the other thing is we built the trap and we have to leave that island down the center in order for that trap to work. We have to be able to turn that current. So.
I'd like to get back to the letter again, and I'd like permission from the board to work with it and see if we can get a letter put together that is to the satisfaction of both of us. And I'd like that to be seconded as a motion.
I'll second that.
Sorry, Julie.
So this letter is no longer,
No,
is that right?
we'll be taking this letter, and I'll be taking this letter and working with Kurt to mold it to where we can take it to the city and maybe fit the needs of both of us. We're not shutting the dredge down. We're shutting it down for a period of time. Right now, to set out here and do what we're doing, that dredge, as far as I'm concerned, needs to be a cleanup tool. And use it for opening up the canals when we make this channel down the one side there. It'll work great for opening that channel back up again. And because we're not going to go clear to the lake and work in the dry. If we did, we'd be finding ourselves working in the wet real fast. And so we need the dredge to go ahead and work both ends of it, work in the areas where it's too wet, and that's basically what this letter's saying. But I'd like to work with Kurt, and we'll get something started here that doesn't hurt anybody and works for a common goal.
Well, if you want Rich's name on it and my name on it, I think we should have the opportunity to read it before we put our names to it.
Okay. I'm asking for permission to work with Kurt on this and come back with something that we all feel that we can turn into the city.
You got my permission. I think we should do it.
Okay. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
I don't have a problem.
Okay, great. All three of us. Moving on here. Kurt, have we had any, we surplus that equipment? I think that was done in the form of a motion. Have we heard anything back from either one of the cat dealers in the area?
We've had one visit, we got the information back. We have another one, I believe is gonna be here tomorrow.
Tomorrow?
Or the following day, so.
Okay, who's came and who's coming?
The Spokane and, NC.
NC Estates is Yakima, isn't it?
Or Western, I'm sorry.
Yeah, Western.
Western's been here,
Okay.
and is it NC coming, or I don't know.
NC's coming tomorrow.
Okay. Great.
Western States was here Monday.
They were here Monday?
He's
So we should have.
He's supposed to be sending that information by email, whatever it is.
Okay, great. So we should know probably something by the end of the week then, at least one or two of them.
I'm hoping.
Okay. And Julia, this is adding a little bit more onto you.
Oh.
Not that I don't think you really need any more. But I talked to Jenny about trying to get the top 10 parcel holders in the last election. And the reason for this is in Olympia, when we're addressing the number of blocks that some of these people carry, they're asking the question, how many votes do some of these people have and how strongly can they carry an election? And so what I'm asking for is the top 10 parcel holders that voted at the last election. And I don't want to know their names, is all I want to know is roughly how many parcels, votes, how many votes that they actually carried, and what.
Say XYZ company has 100 votes.
Just go by number 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 until you get to 10, and you probably.
How do I do that when they either come in and they vote, or we send absentee ballots out? I don't know whether absentees were returned. I don't know who voted. I mean, I can't say I know absolutely who voted. I mean, how do I do that?
Well, if you know that you sent out 50 to one and 60 to another one, that's what I'm asking for, is whether they voted or not, quite honestly. If you sent ballots to them, and you got that number, I think you probably know off the top of your head.
Does it matter who voted? I know off the top of my head who they are.
No, I don't want to know their names.
I'm just saying, can it just be the top 10 property owners?
Sure.
That would be easier list than trying to figure out who voted. I guess
numbers of parcels.
Well, see, the top,
number of parcels. That's
just
number of parcels.
We're just looking for the number of people that requested. You've got the city of Moses Lake. To the best of my knowledge, I don't think they voted. You got school districts. To the best of my knowledge, I don't think they voted. But if you start looking at the number of parcels that these people have, then they would fit in that top category.
Capability of voting.
Of capability
Not
of
the ones
voting.
that voted. That's all I was saying. It's easier to cull the list that way and say these are the top property owners than these are the top ones that voted.
Yeah. Well, if you've got a list of the top ones that you sent the ballots out to.
We have to call the county listed property amount for that individual. We can't call, and that's information that we can't do for voting. We can't give out that information, even if we had. So that's what I'm saying. We can do the top property owners on the list that have the ability to vote. But the ones that voted, I don't think have any bearing on what you're trying to.
Well, can you eliminate the people that didn't, like the schools, like the ones that you know didn't, eliminate them and take it from the list on down, whether they did or not. Is that something that could be done?
All I can do is look at those 4 great big binders, go through them page by page, and start making a list of who has the most number of parcels for the top 10. Now, you know.
But boy, I'm not trying to be honored here or anything else. I'm just trying to get something, because that's a question that one of the legislators asked.
And I understand what you're trying to get, but I don't think it matters whether they voted or not. They still have the ability to vote, and I think that's what you're trying to eliminate. Is amount of votes per person.
Because the people that vote can vary from year to year. I'm assuming not everybody votes all the time.
No, I realize that, Judy. I've just been asked to try and get the top 10 slug of people that how much they can change the ballots.
The best way to put it is you want the top 10 multiple parcel owners in the district.
No, because then you're including schools, you're including the city. Eliminate public. Yeah.
Take out public entities.
Yeah.
Take out public entities, and you know, I don't ask it to be 100% accurate. Can you come up with something here fairly simple that I can give to the legislature? Say this is approximately. We don't have to say exactly that these are the top 10. I would like to know that somewhere here we're close to the top 10.
What is the justification? What is the justification for that? A vote is a vote.
If you give it to me, I've been working from David. We may even be over there testifying if we can get this in the committee. So,
it's not going to be perfect.
Yeah, that's fine.
We don't track voters.
Yeah, I realize that, and that's why I'm not wanting names on them. If you can find me roughly the top 10, that'd be great. And I'll take it there and tell them that it's not 100% accurate, but at least it gives them something so that when they're talking to their different legislators, they can go ahead and say, this is how many, 10 people have the chance to take this election and turn it around. And that's not American wise, you know, it's just not it shouldn't be happening in this kind of a setup. But anyway, if you'd try and, can you have that maybe within a week, or what you're thinking? I know. Till the February meeting.
Which is Valentine's Day, by the way.
We'll bring you flour.
Yeah, which, Julie, I'm afraid it's going to be too late. It's too late. It's gotta be out of committee by February 3rd. Gotta be out of the first committee. Okay. Give me a call, and like I say, February 3rd, it's already through the first committee and going on to the second committee at that point in time. Yeah. Sure.
Killing you.
Okay, keep moving on here. Kurt? Oh, go away.
Actually, if you want some help, I'll be glad to donate my time to do the counting on that, if you would allow me to sit up here and count.
Yeah, then I turn in election books over.
Oh,
So,
okay.
I would thank you for the offer.
So.
Kurt, you said you had some existing contracts with engineering firms at this point in time. I don't know how deep you're into them, how much more you're gonna need them or whatever, but could you give us what you're obligated at this point in time as far as these firms?
Right now?
Uh-huh.
No, we have quite a few contracts that I would like to present to you in February, to be honest with you.
Okay, can you do that?
And I need to address the budget at that time.
Okay, all right. But I'd like to know who they are, what obligation we still have to these engineering firms, and if we got contracts with them or what happens.
Yeah, we've got state contracts, we've got a bunch, and I want to give you a good solid list of
what we were expected to do, and that's what I need to know. John?
If John Smith, Moses Lake, if one of those engineering firms is the one designing that weir system, that might be an awful good thing to at least keep rolling.
This is what we need to know, John.
Yeah.
Yeah. We, it's what I don't want to see is another $100,000 going out for engineering this next year here.
Yeah.
When we got people that I feel will do basically the same job and do it for nothing.
But if those agencies won't accept the advice of.
Well, I mean, some of these guys got better credentials than what we're hiring, I'll guarantee you. So,
Just for clarification, so I understand that you are not shutting the dredge down totally, which means there'll probably be some money in there, that you are going to use the dredge to keep the things going for channels and things like that. You're not shutting it down totally, as you said earlier?
We're shutting it down this year.
So you are shutting it down totally this year?
Totally this year, but we're changing the direction. I feel that we need to go with this dredge, and that is that it's not going to will not be the primary mover of the dirt out here. It will be the cleanup tool.
I think the ratepayers and the people here that I'm hearing mentioned are maybe not in agreement that we pay taxes and maybe.
Well, this is what I campaigned on, and I was elected. Now, if you have a different opinion, then the campaign period comes up again in another.
Just to keep it going until the other stuff's in place. That's all.
Yeah. Okay. Appreciate your comments. Unless there's no further, unless there's nothing further.
I do. I've got 3 points. I'll make them quick.
You've already done it.
One, I would like to have my name taken off of that mission statement thing that you presented last time.
Okay.
It's not a mission statement, and that
Okay.
is part of it.
Okay.
2, there are, in your 3 meetings, there are 44 points of non-compliance as far as you conducting the meetings with regard to our governance policy. You need to become familiar with that so that you are not out of compliance.
Okay.
And 3, this is a card we received. I am an 8th grader at Chief Moses Middle School, and this letter is in my own words. For the past 3 years, I have taken part in the lake shore cleanup with MLIRD. I asked my 2 4-H clubs also, and I am to get involved with them in cleaning up, and they did. I felt good to see about 10 of my close friends taking care of our lake. Then I was also able to do the Water Quality Institute in 2011 and learned so much more than just doing the lakeshore cleanup. Thank you, Mr. Colby, for keeping us kids in the Water Quality Institute. Thanks for remembering we are the future of Moses Lake. Always, Stephanie Yanko. So I thought that was a great card.
All right. Being no other further business, we will call this January 10th meeting adjourned. Thank you. See you in February on Valentine's Day.
Hey, Andrew.
Hold your breath. 9:30.